members of our Congress, you will always have within our government those that are above the law. Hey, it's me. And as you know, I talked about Adam Schiff on the OG channel. But isn't it like Adam Schiff really wants to be Mueller Lite? Think about it. He's going after money laundering. And he doesn't have any evidence. He's just asking all these questions that are really like straw men. Did Trump do this? We have to investigate. Did Trump do that? We have to investigate. And he's just making up a lot of stuff. And it's almost like you have a second special counsel. His name is Adam Schiff. But he doesn't have any powers of the DOJ or the FBI. He just has subpoena power. And you know, these people at the House Intel Committee, they don't have a big staff. So they can hire and outsource a lot of stuff, but that is not the function of the House Intel Committee. So what Dindems really are doing is using the House Intel Committee as some sort of special counsel office with less powers. That's why I call it Mueller Lite. And so you have the New York Attorney General, Underwood, this grotesque-looking blob of a woman. I mean, it's hard to see her as a woman, but anyway, damn, she's ugly. So ugly. Anyway, she has a hard-on for President Trump, and she's going after the Trump Foundation, and she actually started a lawsuit against the Trump Foundation, saying that it was used to pay off some of the women, and that is not a proper use of the foundation, therefore it has to be shut down, and the Trump kids are not allowed to run it. And also she's seeking $4 million in damages or whatnot. So again, you can see New York justice is completely corrupt. Even the Attorney General there. Before that ugly blob of a woman, you had that Schneider guy who was beating up women in a dungeon. I mean, these people, and then he's not even charged. No evidence, they said. He's clean as a whistle. Yeah, right. So New York justice is completely corrupt, and it really seems, if you look at some of these people, they've all been going through the New York offices of justice. Loretta Lynch, James Comey, all of them, they just go through the New York office, and it's almost like there's a school there on how to be corrupt. Because we're not talking about justice here, we're not talking about people looking out for the rule of law, we're talking about political operatives, and they're really like Nazis. And I don't say that lightly. That is exactly what Nazis did in Europe. That's what the communists did in Russia way back when. And that is how they go after political enemies. You go after their families, you go after their businesses, and yes, their foundation. But you have Choco out there with the Choco Foundation. He's going to South Africa. He's getting a lot of money. Even he said, wow, I got so much money. But it's really because the South African government is stealing land from white farmers, and you have killings over there. I mean, it's just theft. And the government's taking over land and, you know, evicting people from land that they've had for centuries. And so by paying off Choco, they can get Black America to support it. And we're talking about attacking white farmers. Now imagine if that happened, let's say in Texas. You have Hispanics and blacks attacking white farmers, and then the government evicts them and takes over. And that is happening right now in South Africa. So Choco and his foundation get millions of dollars, and that is for PR and support. And so the Choco Foundation goes to Denmark, and you have the Danish government with all their connections to Iran. And so you have the Choco Foundation taking money and helping companies and countries to sidestep US sanctions on Iran. in fact trying to save the Iran deal in some way, or at least to limit the punishment that Iran is receiving. Now, check it out. The Choco Foundation is helping Iran. Now, when Choco was president, as you know, he told the DEA to step down, not to go after Hezbollah leaders that were running drugs in our country, and they still are to a certain extent. And there was an investigation to check if Choco was involved with Hezbollah in any way. And of course, it's going to go nowhere. I mean, it's buried. You have the IG over at the DOJ doing nothing. And so the Choco Foundation is very suspect. And you have to look at the Choco Foundation. If you can look at the Trump Foundation, which is basically innocent, how much of the Choco Foundation money goes to paying off some people in the media, or to the Choco family to live large and using money that was donated for other purposes? And so how about the Clinton Foundation? President Trump just tweeted that the donations to the Clinton Foundation dropped by 50%, meaning that the whole thing was set up so that they could leverage Hillary Clinton being Secretary of State and running for president very soon, taking all that money to then give favors if she were to be elected, but giving a lot of favors while she was Secretary of State. And you saw that all over the place. Even the Bush family got in on the action, right, getting a cut, totally involved in the Clinton Foundation. And you see all this money from all these nations, and it's pay for play. And you could say it's money laundering because a lot of these countries, you know, they're dictatorships, and some of these people giving money to the Clinton Foundation, you know, for sure, a lot of money came from criminal doings in their countries. It could be mob money. And so you have money from criminal actions, or some of these, illegal money laundering schemes that are using the Clinton Foundation as part of the money laundering. And it really works, and that's why they're getting a lot of money. And so you have to understand, if you're just moving money around using this foundation, the other foundation, or 1,000 companies, that is not money laundering. Money laundering is really when you're talking about money that came from illegal activities that is then laundered to, erase the source of the money. But if you have a Clinton Foundation taking money from some of those African nations, some of those, East Europeans, some organizations that are very suspect, of course that money comes from drug money or prostitution or whatever it may be. And then the Clinton Foundation is one of the many entities that they're using to launder money. And so because the Clinton Foundation is based in our nation, it means we can investigate that. And that is really the FBI that should be doing it. But as you know, the Clinton Foundation was supposed to be investigated by the House Oversight Committee with Trey Gowdy, the albino gecko, and he did nothing about it. And Uranium One, he did nothing about Uranium One. But now that Dim Dems have control of the House, the Clinton Foundation seems more safe. The IG over at the DOJ and Huber are not really doing anything, apparently. And so, again, the Trump Foundation is targeted, lawsuit, everything's in progress, and the Clinton Foundation, nothing. The Choco Foundation, nothing. And so again, you have that two-tier system of justice, where you have one set of rules for Trump and everybody else, and you have another set of rules for the liberals, Choco, the Clintons. And so what I'm saying is that President Trump is well aware of this. If they go after the Trump Foundation, then let's go after the Clinton Foundation and even the Choco Foundation. If Mueller and the Dim Dems try to impeach Trump, then let's go after Hillary and Choco, because God knows there's a lot there that they have to answer for. And it doesn't even matter if you have the House or not. You have the Senate, even though the Senate Intel Committee is completely compromised. Richard Burr is not in control of that committee, even though we control the Senate. It's Mark Warner, the Democrat, and Richard Burr is kind of like a paid-off stooge. He's not doing anything, but you have other committees. But more than that, President Trump has a DOJ and the FBI, and it is slowly morphing, and they will see it as political, but who cares? If Mueller is going after Trump, then we must go after Hillary and Choco. And I think a lot of Dindems know that, so they're reluctant to go for impeachment. But it may be that they're pushed over the edge by their own people, and that they're so scared of 2020 that they will do it in a desperate attempt to remove Trump before 2020, because they cannot imagine another 4 years with Trump. But if they go that way and they try to impeach Trump, then we're going to take out Hillary and Choco. It's that simple. No matter what it takes, President Trump can order it. And if they don't follow the orders, then they can be fired for that. There's nothing you can do about it. That would be obstruction of the President of the United States, Commander-in-Chief. And he's also the head of the DOJ and the FBI. People seem to forget that if you're president, you're in charge of all the departments. You're the boss. So he can actually go to the DOJ, call a meeting, and the AG is there, everybody else, and he says, okay, this week we're going to do this, we're going to do that. He can do it if he wants. He can really get involved in that way. So not everything depends on this temp that we have now, Whitaker. It also doesn't all depend on the new AG, even though you want somebody so President Trump doesn't have to get involved. But when it comes down to it, we're talking about life or death. We're not going to let these people use a system to just take out an innocent man just so they can win an election in 2020. No, it's not going to happen. And if they make a move, then there's going to be blowback, and that will be very damaging for Dimdems, because you're going to see Choco in the hearing and under oath, stuttering, stammering. It's going to be fun to watch. Hillary Clinton, and they can scream about this is political all they want, but what do you call the Mueller probe? It's all political. All these Democrats in the team going after Trump, there's no evidence, more than 2 years now, and for what? Because they just want to damage Trump. Just like Adam Schiff is using the House Intel Committee to go after a person. And there's no crimes, but he's like saying, what if he did this? What if he did that? We have to check it. No, yeah, okay. What if Choco killed somebody? Let's investigate every email he sent, ever. Let's investigate the Choco Foundation. Maybe he ordered some hits on people. If you go that way, that's not the way it works. But for Adam Schiff, yeah. We're talking about, as Mark Levin would say, a slip-and-fall lawyer. These lawyers are half-baked lawyers. Michael Avenatti, Adam Schiff, there is really no difference. These people are hacks. And there's nothing worse than a corrupt cop or a lawyer that, tries to sidestep the law. Hackery, buffoonery. And that is what Adam Schiff is all about. So there will be a blowback for whatever they do. I don't really feel any worry about it. I'm just curious if they have the guts. My message to Dimdems is bring it on. Bring it on. Because I want to see what will happen to them when they do go that step too far, that bridge too far. It's going to blow up in their faces big time. So I'm not like, please don't investigate Trump. I'm like, do it. Show how insane you are, show how psychotic you are, and then we will bury you alive. And President Trump knows that. Dimdems in the leadership, I think they know it. So I don't think that they will have the guts to do it. Maybe they will dabble in it just to make their base happy, but they won't go full throttle. But if they do, they will just only, damage themselves, especially in 2020 they will guarantee Trump re-election. And so